Welcome back. This is the morning show here on Signature TV. A whole lot of persons have spoken about this issue of security, especially as it concerns our rural organizations or rural settings. I mean, it's difficult to have people overrun the communities, running to the bush, and no traces of them. So many persons have said the state police would do a lot good. Some others say community policing would do a lot good. But no, not much conversation has been, given to the importance or the impact of traditional rulers on policing. How important are these sets of people? We would extray today's conversation from the premise of a reverend who knows more about this community policing as it concerns, traditional rulers. Reverend Francis Uzochukwu is live with us this morning. Good to have you. Good morning.
Oh, God bless you, my brother. You're welcome.
Good morning to you.
Thank you.
How concerned are you for you about policing in Nigeria?
I was here last week to discover the welfare of the inmates in Nigerian correctional centers. And as a humanist, can have one come in between the inmates. They don't just come to the prisons or to the correctional centers. There are some steps that brought them into that. And when you look at the issue of state policing, the impact of the traditional rulers, if you want to take it maybe from up to down, I can tell you that the traditional rulers of the communities are the fourth tiers of the government. Maybe talk about the federal, the state, local, we talk about traditional rulers now. Now, the issue of policing, what is even policing? Just to maintain peace and order, to guide the society out of lawlessness. And if you want to talk about the state policing now, you now begin to look at bringing the local aspect of the people, the traditional rulers, getting them involved in maintaining peace and order. So, but sometimes the way people are just like interpreting this state policing from different angles, it betters my mind, because what do we want to achieve? A peaceful society. How can you get doing it? You may not necessarily get it from up. There might be some grassroots things to do about it. So state policing is a priority that government should look into. It's a necessity that government should look into. So that if we go into this issue of state policing, okay, let me now give you one inspiration. In a community that the DPO there is not from that community at all, he doesn't even speak the language of those people at all, how close do you think he would be with the traditional ruler of that community? How do you think that the traditional ruler can communicate with him freely to discuss the issue of security in his own community? But if you bring it down to that local context, where the traditional ruler, the PGs, now we have in Enugu State, forest guard. These forest guards are part of the society. They know who is who. They know who is who. So we can from there trace out the issue of state policing, making it coming down to the grassroots. But my trouble is that most of the times, if you compare our security system and what we're observing in the Nigerian correctional centers and what is going on within the judiciary aspect, you now see that there is a missing gap. There is a missing gap. And this missing gap, the state policing system, in conjunction with the traditional rulers, will bring solution to it.
Well, again, so many people also think that sometimes the traditional rulers are culpable because, again, I mean, how is it that people would attack your community and there is no trace of these people who have attacked your community? If there was a collaboration between the police, even as it stands, and the community through the head of the community, I mean, we wouldn't be having these issues. It does look like the head of communities are just oblivious. They don't even know what to do when things like that happen.
My brother, thank you. Traditional ruler, that's his language. And when somebody is a traditional ruler of a community and he lives in London, then who is in charge of his community?
Is that what is in existence?
Who is in charge? By the basis of the standard, he is the chief security of his community. Many of them are not on site to look into those matters. They're not there. Now, these ones that you have engaged as maybe neighborhood watch, forest guard, all this, how do you mobilize them? You know, I'm a teacher. I want to tell you something. As a teacher, one of the secrets of understanding the intelligent aspect of a child is closeness. Closeness to that child. No child is a dump. Depends on how you try to get to that child, manage his or her ability, and develop it to a strength. So the traditional rulers, I may not say that they are culpable of the whole thing, but I'm saying that there is a missing gap from what they are doing and what ought to be done. Because if they are close with those security agencies around them, the neighborhood watch, the forest guard, even with the PGs, interaction gives you contact to people. Interaction gives you information. Like myself as an example, I've developed my life in the sense that most of the times people quarrel with me like, hey, Reverend, where is your vehicle? Why not you go with a vehicle and this and that? And I said, no, I want to come and let me meet with people. Let me see their feelings. Let me discuss with them. Let me chat. You free yourself to the people. And by freeing yourself to that people, those people around you, you will be able now to know what to do for them.
You know, to be fair to the traditional rulers, I don't think they have any role in the Constitution. They haven't been officially, you know, co-opted into the Constitution. It's not like that's an allocation for them for every. Do you think that should happen? And then do you also think that there must be community policing that are also under them, you know, practically just bringing them into the fold of things?
Okay. Now, you go back again before the colonial masters. How do we secure our communities? I want to say something. Everybody is the policeman. Every individual is a policeman. Because developing this conscience of security has to be in everybody's life. And the traditional rulers developing that consciousness of securing his own people, he can get into people who are well-meaning in the society within his domain. They might assist him get one or two or three things to do. And once they assisted him to get those things done, then driving the people's idea from evil. That is just the issue of security now. You know, bringing the people's idea from the crime. For example, the youths. When the youths will be gainfully engaged, if they have something doing gainfully, meaningfully, you will see that their thinking, their mindset will be shifted from whatever that is called crime. It will be shifted. Because they say that a lazy man is devil's workshop, an idle mind. So when the mind is idle, when nothing is coming up, when he's not doing anything can happen. Yes. So we may not need to continue emphasizing on elephant projects or how to get these things done. We need to go down to the grassroots.
Right. So as it stands now, do you think that there's a collaboration between the rulers, talking about traditional rulers, and the police, and how much of that should be explored in order to solve our security problems?
Good. Now, I've come in contact with a traditional ruler that after discussing with him, I was able to change his psyche of what is security. Now, this is a community that most of the times you see their boys being, taken to the police on arrest, this and that and that. I went to them and I said, no, you need to bring down these people. Get your people to know. Use the youths, because one thing again, if you have a strong youth organization in your community, they know themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when there is a local crime committed, they can trace it better. Unless if that is a transnational crime, or trans-state crime, or but once it is something local, they will trace it. Now, getting them involved, making them being part of it. You see, some of these traditional rulers, who are seeing these youths as stubborn, stupid, discarding them. Instead of now bringing them to look at the better part of their lives to make use of it. I know a particular young man who is part of the neighborhood watch. The day I was having discussion with him, he told me how he was once a highway robber. But at some point of his life, he got repentant and thought, so that what he was doing then was, but now it's part of the neighborhood watch. He had been very good at catching up with those young ones. How do you now get into it? The traditional rulers exploring those kind of persons, make use of them positively. But once you continue to see them as enemies, once you continue to see these young ones as enemies, as outcasts, they are good for nothing and this and that, my brother will not get out from there. Will not get out from there.
Right. So in charting a way forward, you have spoken about the collaboration that must exist between the traditional rulers and the police, and the traditional rulers and the youth of the community where they,
of course, where they operate, where they live, where they come from.
So where do you think is the loophole? Where do you think is a weak link in all of these now? Because we still have issues in our communities. Policing in our communities is a problem. The issue of bringing in community policing cannot happen tomorrow or next tomorrow. I mean, it has to be legislated upon. But as it stands now, what should we be doing in order to keep our communities safe from marauding headers or even transnational crimes, as the case may be?
My brother, there are two bases of understanding having crime system. If one did not know where something is, he might not easily get in there. Like the first day I came to this place, because I didn't know where I was going, I have to take all over stress to get here. But today I think it is more easy now for me, because I know where I'm going. To control the crime, I've been hammering on reorientation. I know a community, that community today, 70% of the good thing that is happening in that community were being handled by the youths. Because they have an organized youth system supported by the traditional role of that community, supported by the town union. They have a youth president. And this youth president happens to even be part of the security architect of that community. So, he knows his own people. He knows his own people. And if you happen to be a stranger that comes into that community, he will identify that person easily.
So where's the weakling now? Because we'll be hearing, attacks in Hamufu, in Nimbo.
Good.
If you were to advise as to how to keep the peace now, as it relates to getting traditional rulers involved, how would you do it? And where do you think is the weakling, and where should we be, plugging the loopholes?
Now, if you talk about those issues of henchmen, I want to say that those henchmen, they are young ones.
The what?
They are young ones.
The young ones.
Yeah, they are youths.
Okay.
From my own perception, they are youths. And they comes in to some of this community time to time. They don't just fly in and attack like rocket and goes away. Now, the issue is that looking at, are there now collaboration between those henchmen and those youths who are within the communities? And again, I've just said it before, how do you handle these youths so that your friendship system with them determines the length they will go to assist you as a leader? So, if our leaders, traditional rulers, and government, and even the uniform police can see some of our youths as their brothers, and then feel free with them and discuss with them, they will now be free to be information agents to do things. Because, okay, now, if there's an attack now here, before that person will disappear out of Enugu State, it might take like 24 hours. If there's an attack here now. But if you have a good security watch, there may be 2 or 3 ways to get those ones who did those things known. Because they are not in isolation. They are not ghosts. They are human beings. How did they even come in before? From which route do they come in? Because understanding the route which they comes in from also will help you to get to know the route which they exit from. So I continue to say our youths are very, very important in our community policy system. I've said this some time ago, somebody was angry with me, that you don't just use those bad ones alone during the time of electoral campaign so that you can get the ballot box and snatch it away and then win election, whatever. No. As a priest I am, I look at everybody around me and I take my time to study what you can offer. There's good in everybody's life.
Right.
There's goodness in everybody's life. But it depends on how you were able to approach it.
You have just mentioned that you have to check whether there's a collaboration between those who are headers and the community youths.
Yes.
Are you insinuating that there is a possibility that the reasons why these attacks have not abated is because there should have been some collaboration between these headers and the communities, the youthful communities there?
Now these headers, they have their leaders.
Yes.
Okay. Now, who is now monitoring? How do the leaders of these headers come in close contact with the communities? Do they just carry their cattle and come in there and then they settle and then settle? I'm not sure that they will just come in, settle and relax. There must have been some, even if they come in carelessly to settle. For example, let me use this office again as an explanation point. If I just come into this office, I don't offer me seat to sit down, I'll continue to stand up. Or if you come to this your studio to see me standing, you have the right to ask me, what am I here doing? And these are some of the steps. So that if the traditional rulers will see these henchmen settle in their communities, it is their duty to checkmate, to know where they come from, where they have migrated from, and even what pushed them from. Because, as headers now, they move from one point to another point. But what exactly caused them to migrate from where they were before to this point they are? Friendship, relationship. And that relationship, you have your interest to maintain peace, to secure your people, to secure your community. If you go on with that mind of friendship, you will exactly know how to handle them. They will not see you as enemy. Like I was talking about the youths now. Because of that, some of our traditional laws and the PGs and town union has made some of our youths as their enemies. the youth now see themselves as they are not part of what is happening. So if they have any way to survive, they will survive. If they have access to the do assessment to collect 1 million from them and then destroy the whole farms in that community, they can do it because they were not involved. They were not accommodated. But once they are accommodated, once they felt that they are part of the community, they are part of the system, once you show them that love and interest, there you go.
Let's go to state police. So many people have said state police is not the way forward. It's not the way to go in this situation.
Okay.
Do you think state police is important?
Yes, of course. It's very, very important.
How important?
I was not born during the issue of the Nigerian Biafran or whatever. But through the course of my studies, I've come to see that Nigeria, from my definition and what I've read through papers, is a multi-nation state. Multi-one, triple multi-one. That state policing gives more closer impact to the people. For example, if in Enugu State here that maybe some of the hierarchy police officers in Enugu State are people within this area, I'm telling you the sincere truth. There are things that will be done. They will be held responsible of that. Because the idea will not be, you should have known this. You have known this. You are part of this. So why this? So the state policing will not give even the governor, even the government chairman, the authority, the constitutional right to organize. What are we even bothering ourselves for? Just to secure life and property. It's not policing. That's all.
Yeah, but some people think that the governors might misuse the opportunity of, using the state police for personal gains. Part of the reasons why it has stalled, under the IG of police.
Well, I don't know, but you know one thing. I'm a man of conscience. I believe on conscience so much. And the Bible said that which you not want anybody to do, don't do it to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if I cannot say that all politicians or all leaders are not conscious reason like, but we can also say, okay, let's give it a trial. Let's make an act of establishing that thing as a trial and see how it works. A good leader leads while the followers monitors him. And a good leader is somebody who listens to the opinion of his own people. But what we have problems, people who are having the fear of that, the kind of democracy we are practicing here is not what democracy is all, which is in the paper. Well, one has to go with government of the people, for the people, and by the people. It has come to the point that what we talk about democracy here is just the winner wins it all. And he takes it over. And that's where people are beginning this fear. That because of this illegitimate taking over of authority, if we now say state policing, that somebody may illegitimately also use it as a way of brutalizing others, and then that's the issue. But conscience. Conscience.
Okay, but again, because we are also a third world country, our democracy is still fragile. Okay. So many persons also think that we exist in a space where the city still plays a huge role. The trust is not that there. We survived a civil war,
yes.
A situation where the eastern region, even though you can say it's totally different now, that fear is still there. That there might be, some governors can stand up one day and say they're no longer interested in being Nigeria, and given that security
is in their control,
is in their hands,
okay.
They can decide to do that. Don't you think that fear is genuine?
That fear may be right, may be wrong. Even in the church, let me just be blunt on this. Even in the church, there are some stages where the priest will now call, who gave this woman to be married to this man? Now to tell that marriage is not a forced idea. You don't force yourself to marry somebody that you don't have interest in.
Is it when the marriage is already consummated or before the marriage?
That's why I'm telling that this is one of the language we use in the church. Who gave this man? So that man will come out to now only that he is the person who gave that lady to be married to that man. And we seek the consent of that lady to now own up, yes, this is my husband. Now, let me bring it down to the context we are discussing now. There can never be any time you will see a society that is 100% peaceful. Because we are not yet in the paradise which we are promised. But then we will continue to do things to see how we can make life better for us.
So in that
regard, somebody who is maybe somebody who happens to be a governor who now said, okay, because I have the right of the security, this and that on me, that I'm not going to be part of this, you need to also ask him, what is your thinking? What is your opinion? Why this? It brings in consultation. Okay, now your child says, I'm not going to school this morning. Your own child. And you get on to flog that child. Flogging the child. No. I think the best thing you should do is to ask him, son, what's your problem? He may try to let you that the auntie in the school is wicked, that he doesn't understand what the auntie is doing, that is not, no. So, if we have the fear that some persons may hijack it, it's just an insinuation. It's just a thought of the mind. There's no reality on it. But there are some ways we can get into trying to see what we can do, because there is danger. That danger is that there is no security. So how do we go into having this security? Now, I'm not good in mathematics when I was in school, but I've come across what they call trial and error method. So some of these things can be in that type of trial and error method. But if you just abandon that trial in entirety, that it will not work, or trying to now give it a name, that makes it look so negative, I'm seeing it as not the way out. Yes. But there's still going to be a way to get it right, to get it implemented, to get it being on the board, to see what is the content.
So you don't agree with the IG of police who says that the Nigerian system is not ripe for a state police?
I do not agree with you totally. Because how many years will we now gain to stay to see ourselves as matured? How long? How long? So if you say that we are not yet matured after this whole year of independence, and we have successive governments, then we should ask him some questions so that he will come on board with his own findings. Why is Nigeria not right? Let there be an information from him. Let there be, a document that will come from him to show, yes, exactly, we are trying to do what is not feasible. We are talking about maintaining law and order, safeguarding lives and property, making every arms of the society to be part of it. The government on their side, the state on their side, the traditional rulers on their side, even the Thai Union on their own side. Even family. I think we're going to still have in my schedules with this station, we're going to see discuss the decay in the moral aspect of our families. These are part of those things. Because if this one gets spoiled up, it will affect the other one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just tell you that something that we have been following for you in the last few hours. There has been a tragedy that has struck in Enugu State, and it's about the Enugu State's Catholic Diocese. The identities of 7 seminarians who tragically lost their lives in a fatal crash in Cross River State have been confirmed, as reported by this platform. The seminarians belonging to the Capuchin Order and under the ecclesiastical jurisdiction of Enugu State were involved in the accident while returning home from a tour of the ranch resort in the Bottom Hill community of Obudu, guided by a priest. The deceased are seminarians Madina Ibe Ojuludu, seminarian Chinedu Nwachuku, seminarian Marcel Ezenwafo, Gerald Nwogo Eze, seminarian Kingsley Nwosu, Wilfred Aleke, and seminarian Chukwudi Obueze. It is so sad, and
so sad, my brother.
The Catholic Church is mourning this.
Yes, I'm on with them.
Right.
I'm on with them.
How do you
I send my sympathy to the bishop, to the entire Catholic Diocese of Enugu. It's not something that is too pathetic. These are young ones who have devoted themselves to serve God and humanity. And you know one thing, some of these things I'm doing, sometimes some people ask me, why do you choose all these things? Talking and going to the prisons and this. I said, okay, I am here on earth, created by God, sent by God, without even knowing where I was going. Because if I were to choose where I should be born, I wouldn't have even been born in Enugu or even in Nigeria. I would have chosen to be born in Buckingham Palace, where I belong to the royal kings. But now, I'm an Igbo man, born in Enugu State, happens to be grown up in the Anglican family, become an Anglican priest. There is a purpose for those things. So, these young guys who were born like we, grew up to have this conviction or this vocation. And it has just ended. I send my sympathies to their families and the bishop of the Democratic Diocese of Enugu and those who are concerned. May their soul rest in peace. Because all of us has come. One day we'll go. But how are we going to go? We don't know. What will be our end? We don't know. And that is why, even this morning, in one of my daily devotionals I used to write, I was writing about holiness. Holy life. Holy life is not necessarily when you close your eyes and your mouth and everything. Holy life is monitoring your in and out action. The things you say, the things you do.
But then, do you is it a normal thing to take the seminarians to places like Obudu Cattle Ranch?
Well, I didn't know their intention, but they are students. So, students who sometimes the seminary life makes someone it lives in a very
confined area,
obsolete environment, confined environment. So they might think of taking them down to have a side view of the outside world, maybe, so just for them to feel that kind of a little free from their normal stay. That could be their thinking. So to me, what the authority did by sending them is not wrong. To me, it's not wrong. So despite what has happened, like myself now, who come from my base to this Enugu, I came here on a purpose, on an invitation. Anything can happen on the road. So we can't rule it out that it is wrong for them to go to Bukhara Rank. No, I didn't say that. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. So, but because we are human beings, Bible says the means of life were in death. The means of life were in death. Nobody knows. It could still be possible that after today discussing with you in this studio, I'll go back home and next thing you hear that Reverend Francis Ochikwagi is dead. It shouldn't bother your life. It is possible. It is possible. It is natural to die. But what matters is, what is the condition of your life where you are living?
Mm-hmm.
What impacts? I want to tell that these young ones may have made impact in life for some persons. And those impacts will remain indelible in the life of those ones that have made impact on why they have gone. As a good Anglican, there is a particular hymn in Abu 239 that it is we all do to be remembered by what we've done. All right? In every Anglican setting, if you don't hear that hymn when somebody being buried, that means they are not Anglican that are doing that burial. Abu 239. We are all passing away. And that's why somebody like me has taken it upon myself to, what do I do every day of my life? Is it just to wake up in the day and allow the day to finish it up and go? No. Even after here now, I'm going to some other things in Enugu before I go down to where I came from. You make impact. So they must have made impact to the society, and they will be remembered for that. May their soul rest in peace.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's leave it here. Many thanks, sir, for your time. It's just really shocking updates we're getting from our sources. Reverend Francis Uzochukwu Agu, many thanks for your time.
God bless you.
Truly appreciate you.
God
for
bless
your
you.
time. All right.
God bless you.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.